right, we are live. I've got you all situated where there ain't gonna be no rocking back and forth. Not sure if that'll work for my guitar playing, but for now. So it is Mike at Midnight. Welcome. For those of you who know your time zones, you'll be like, Mike. Right now you're in Memphis, Tennessee. Central Time's only 11 p.m. That's true, but it's midnight somewhere, specifically on the East Coast. Good stuff. Green tea with citrus made by Lipton. This episode brought to you by Mike Brown. Hey, brother. Hello there, baby. Hi, mama. Not gonna read tonight. For one, I'm tired. My eyes are all kind of crisscrossed and bug-eyed, and I just got a lot on my mind. So I'm in the mood to chat. So let's see here. So anyhow, I have, in all my life, never been through what I'm going through now. And I hope never to go through it again. I'm in the van, by the way. Still stripped out. I haven't done anything with it. Man, today, I got in, or was it yesterday? Today. Last night? This morning. I'm so tired right now, I can't keep up. I guess it was this morning. Anyway, whenever it was, I went to get the van today and fire this thing up, and nothing. Now, the thing about swapping out the mechanical fuel pump on the engine block over to an electric fuel pump, usually, even if you don't have it mounted to the frame somewhere, you just kind of have it hanging by the hoses that are holding it up, you'll still hear kind of a... it's quieter as long as you don't hook it up. If you hook it up to the frame, it'll carry through the whole body. But I turned the key and I didn't hear nothing. So I went ahead and I cranked it up, and no, didn't get it cranked out. Nope. So the issue, apparently, is I need a fuel pump again. I bought one a while back when I was working at the steel mill in Jackson, Tennessee. I was at the Pilot one day, and it did it to me there at the Pilot. I called O'Reilly's, and the guys said basically, hey man, tip my driver or something, make it worth his time. Okay, I said, all right. So whatever it was, the bill at O'Reilly's plus an additional $20 tip to the driver, and I was able to get, of course now, at that point in time, it wasn't freezing cold and raining like it is today. I was able to get on the van, take care of it, and go. So meanwhile, the fuel pump I put down here at first was given to me when I bought the van. The guy says, hey man, the fella that was supposed to change this out didn't and left it behind, so here you go. And it lasted a little while, and it finally took a crap. And if I remember correctly, that was the one time I had to have the mama come get me, and I fortunately have my own tow bar, and went and dragged this thing back home. The next time was O'Reilly's, and then the next time, of course I can't really count the first time. I knew it had a bad fuel pump when I bought it, but I decided to just keep driving on until it finally took a crap. But the next time we had some work done on this thing at a mechanic shop there in town where we live, and if I remember correctly, he put a fuel pump on it then. Something with the electric fuel pumps, I guess. I'm not sure what the deal is, but they're just not being cooperative. So, pardon me. But yeah, so now of course I'm camping out tonight. The boss where I work at, he lets me. There's a live power outlet up underneath to walk into the office. You got to climb some stairs. And it's kind of a steel deck. It'd be like a fire escape stairs, kind of, got that grid and everything, real solid, heavy steel. and underneath that is an electrical outlet up there. So I nose right up to it so no one trips on the cord accidentally trying to pass between those stairs in my van. And I run an extension cord, which we just bought one because these heaters pull a lot of amperage. And if you use too thin of an extension cord, you're not supposed to use an extension cord at all. But if you use too thin of one, then wire get hot, risk of fire. So we bought a maybe I think it was a 10 gauge, wasn't it? We went and bought a 10 gauge extension cord, which was this big around. So hang on, Brother Mike, I just missed what it was you had said there. So, oh damn, that sucks. Damn. And so I can stay warm in here. It's kind of comfortable. I wish I'd turned the heater on a little bit sooner, but the idea of idling away the boss man's diesel at 1.1 gallons an hour, which at $3 and some change for the cost of diesel right now down here, that computes to $30 to $40 a night idling. So yeah, he's figuring this way here it probably don't burn but $2 to $3 electricity, so he doesn't mind. In fact, all this past summer, of course, if you remember, I had right here a cabinet, kind of, well, not a frame for a cabinet, built right here with the air conditioner up in there. Of course, all the plumbing throwing all the hot air out the back to the floor, and I sit right here, air conditioning going in here, and sleep like a baby. So he's a pretty cool guy. He really is. There's some things about him that aggravate the piss out of me. But so it's just the two of y'all here. I'm both y'all. Of course, the mama knows. She goes through this with me. But the charges they've got against me are pretty serious. That truck wreck I had a little more than a year ago. And I've been thinking about some things, and I need someone to talk to, so I figure I'm going to talk to the camera. I don't do Facebook anymore, and I have found sharing your feelings on Facebook doesn't work anyway. You get too many people take that crap the wrong way. And where we used to go to church, we people all got the cold shoulder from everybody there, so we just stopped going. And so there, and I moved from where I had friends to where I knew nobody, so I have nobody to hang out with where I live at home, and but that's okay, because the more people you invite into your life, the more of their problems become your problems. But yeah, the whole deal, and they make it sound so sophisticated, criminally negligent homicide. But I don't live my whole life in the movies, although yeah, I can reflect on different movies, and I can say, hey, I understand how this works here and whatever. But the word homicide is just a fancy word for murder. And now the state of Tennessee is out, and of course you know how it is, you're guilty till proven innocent. The state of Tennessee is out to prove that I criminally negligent homicide. Okay, you negligently, purposely killed somebody. So of course that one's a felony charge. And then the other one is driver failure to execute due care. What does that even mean? And the trucking company I was working for at the time this happened, their insurance company has an attorney who's still working on the lawsuit issues. The widow to the man that died, Mr. Charles Kaiser, she settled with the insurance company, offered her $850,000, and I don't believe that she's at all driven by greed or anything. No amount of money is going to bring him back. And so she settled. But meanwhile, the other guy, who is Mr. Mr. Weathers, Mr. Kaiser's good friend, he his friend died in his lap, literally bled out in his lap. And at the time, all he wanted was because his truck's totaled, he wanted his pickup truck replaced. And he didn't want a new one. He just wanted one nicer than what he had, which is reasonable. And he wanted his medical bills taken care of. So, does that say M doll? They need to, when you turn your phone sideways, they need to make this where the font is bigger so you can read. Didn't do anything for Valentine's. The mama, she is very understanding, and like me, Valentine's Day isn't her favorite day of year anyway, so she's already informed me, though, for our anniversary, I'm taking her somewhere. I said, really, where? She's anywhere but here. Where we live in Arkansas, she wants to get as far away from there as we can. So, and I said, okay. But anyhow, the idea of the language of some of these charges, you know, that this Mr. Weathers, I guess, has gotten some of these billboards to say, you've been in a truck wreck? We'll sue for you. And so suddenly replacing his truck and paying his medical bills isn't enough. Now, of course, we're going to do pain and suffering. He no longer has the ability to, I forget how it was written, partake in the enjoyment of life. Huh? What? the legal words that between the state of Tennessee, which of course the district attorney, I guess, or state's attorney, between the state of Tennessee and the language that they're using, and every now and then y'all look at my hand while I try to scroll and see if I've missed anything. So and then the language the attorneys use, they sent me all these medical forms to verify everything that Mr. Weathers has been through, and everything's been blacked out. In fact, blacked out so well you can't even tell if there was ever even anything written there. And just because you give me a piece of paper with all kinds of stuff blacked out doesn't mean that verifies these expenses exist. Overinflated big time. So at the time when they were still trying to determine whether or not to settle, yada yada yada, he didn't like the fact that he was only being offered $150,000 and the widow was being offered $850,000. So the insurance company's attorneys sat down and said, well, look here, we will pay for a mediator, and everybody sit down and hash this out until we come up with numbers that y'all can agree on, because it's the policy, insurance policy is $1 million for the entire. There's no $1 million for this, $1 million for no, for everything, $1 million. So he, even the widow had said, okay, we'll sit down, and even if the mediator says half and half, $500,000 each, whatever the mediator says, we'll agree to. Very reasonable, in my opinion. But he was like, no, I want a part of it, which means even half, he wasn't satisfied with that. The attitude of this fella is basically, my friend's dead, he can't spend any of that money, and his wife wasn't in the truck, she don't deserve all that money, I should be the one getting $850 and she should be getting $150. So now my former employer and I are being sued for $1 million. At the same time, the state of Tennessee has charged me with a homicide felony charge, criminally negligent homicide, and driver failure to execute due care. I don't think that one's a felony. But in my opinion, and see, I'm one of these people, I think a lot. I drive for a living. I still have my driver's license, still have my CDL. I'm still driving to and from in a big truck. Brother Mike, I went and got one of them beer kegs today. But it wasn't for me. Another driver named Wayne, he wasn't able to get back in time before they closed, so I went and got his trailer, went loaded it, brought it back here. He'll pick it up over the weekend and go. So, but to me, they're not fuel tanks anymore, brother. They are beer kegs. And oh, you'd have liked this one, nice high gloss white, and had the legs where you can mount it in your backyard, you know. And all you get is run the plumbing into the house, brother, and you're set. So anyhow, I still drive, but I don't listen to music when I drive anymore. I haven't in a long time. And all I do is all this going on in my mind day and night. I can't sleep sometimes because of it. And then all of a sudden thoughts hit me. Well, wait a second. There were three specific things that if any one of these three things had not happened the way they did, the outcome of this whole situation would have been different. One being, of course, that the semi-truck that I was driving had made impact with a pickup truck in front of me that was stopping to make a turn on a 65-mile-an-hour 4-lane divided highway, which in America is pretty much like an interstate, except every now and then there's the ability to cross the interstate instead of over it, right on the end. You know. But it's more or less just like an interstate. Big grassy median in the middle, nice wide shoulders, and every now and then a cross street. You know. So the thing that could have been different is if Mr. Weathers would have pulled his truck off onto the shoulder. There are 4 driveways at the bottom of a hill, and these 2 gentlemen were going to buy a gasoline engine for Mr. Kaiser's pickup truck, and they weren't certain which of these 4 driveways is the one they were supposed to turn into. They're literally all right. Usually there'll be a driveway and a house and a driveway and a house. These were all pretty close together, and then they kind of fanned out. And but instead of pulling off onto the shoulder, get the cell phone out, call the guy, or verify the address and look at the mailboxes, because the mailboxes were out there at the highway. Instead, he's just kind of creeping along. If he'd have done that different, there would have probably been no wreck at all, or at least something much minor. Obviously, the trucker, yours truly, could have probably done a million things different to avoid this. And Mr. Kaiser wasn't seatbelted. Because of that, at the time of the impact, I don't think it was the impact that ejected him. After the impact, because the truck had its wheels turned, they were attempting to turn, and because of that, their truck got pushed into the guardrail, which then got caught between the guardrail and the tractor trailer, which folded the truck in half, and Mr. Kaiser was ejected through the windshield. I think it was the windshield. But somehow in the process of being ejected, it then fell back in, so I'm pretty sure, because I think if you got ejected out the side door, I don't think you'd have made your way back in. So, but the thing of it is, if Mr. Kaiser would have been wearing his seatbelt, that might have saved his life. Who's to say? But here's my question for the state's attorney, which I hope my attorney will ask. Because if they're trying to say homicide, which is a pretty word for murder, how then do we explain that the gentleman behind the wheel lived? He was seat belted. So therefore, that would imply that if Mr. Kaiser was seat belted, he may have lived too. There's no guarantee of that. No guarantee at all. But based on what happened on the other side of that same seat, you know, most pickup trucks like this one was a bench seat, that this gentleman here lived because he was seat belted. It would stand to reason then that if this gentleman was seat belted, he may have lived too. And I'm very interested to see how the state intends to prove that even had Mr. Kaiser been seat belted, that even had Mr. Weathers not been creeping along on a 65-mile-an-hour interstate, similar to an interstate highway, that no matter what, this would have resulted in the death of this gentleman because of the big rig and the neglect of the big rig driver. So that just really just keeps me awake. And even now, I've been on the phone with the mama just a little while ago, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go take a nap. And I've been, if y'all remember during Brother Mike during Christmas, I I hit a deer when I was on that UPS run, and so they brought me another truck that was kind of a olive green blue color, and that truck actually drives nicer. It's a little older, and it's pretty dirty because gets it's turned by so many different people using it. But the that white truck I was in is all the time having problems and everything. So tonight I switched over actually yesterday, and tonight I've been just kind of putting my stuff up and everything, and I have moved into that green truck, that same truck I drove after hitting the deer in the white truck. So until they got the white truck fixed and gave it back to me. But anyways, I told the mama, I said, I'm about done in here, and I'm gonna lay down. And the van's broken down, which means now instead of me driving home, she's gonna have to come get me in the morning. But I've been laying here just staring at the ceiling and tossing and turning, and so I thought, well, it's midnight on the East Coast. So I've been doing this lately, Brother Mike, is this Mike at midnight, I call it, and I try to keep them a little short in time comparatively. instead of 2 to 4 hours, 15 to 30 minutes. And I try, read poetry. My intentions are, little bits of wisdom and proverbs, and wit, some jokes and comedy. I asked Elaine, I said, if you ever find a book by Will Rogers, I want to, because he was known for his bits of wisdom and wit. And so that's my intention, is to share some of that on these little midnight. A lot of times when I'm driving, I'm usually somewhere at midnight awake. So I thought, well, I'm going to do a little something here. I got the idea from Mike Millen, does these live at 6:05 every morning, Monday to Friday, 6:05 Eastern time. He gets on and does a 55-minute live stream because he has to catch the bus at exactly 7 o'clock. So, but the I needed to vent, man. I got nobody to talk to, and I'm inside my head, and that's a terrible place to be, all by yourself. And I don't know. So that's what's going on in my life, man. Of course, now, don't get me wrong, and I'm not like, oh, woe is me, y'all pity on me. That's not where I'm going with this. A gentleman lost his life in this, no matter who's at fault. A gentleman lost his life in this. An elderly woman lost her husband. He will never come home again. In fact, this past Christmas was their first holidays without him. It happened January 2nd, a year ago. And so, yeah, my troubles pale in comparison. But I don't live their life. I live mine. And in my life, my troubles are very, very upfront and personal. So that's what I'm trying to cope with. But anyhow, I had to borrow the money from my boss just to get to the attorney because I can't afford it. $1,800 US dollars just to get me through Sessions Court. If in Sessions Court, you don't have a jury or anything, the judge and state's attorney and your defense attorney, and that's that. And if the state of Tennessee can't be satisfied with whatever the attorney that I have hired, if they can't be satisfied, then it goes to circuit court. And I guess every section. So that $1,800 sees me through Sessions, all the way to the very end, when the judge determines, no, this isn't being resolved, it's going to go circuit court, or yes, it's resolved, well, it ends here. That's where my $1,800 gets me. And my former employer currently being sued with me for $1 million by the gentleman that lived, is the one who came up with $1,800 to get the attorney for me. Because here, I left the job I was at. When this happened, I took myself out of the truck. The insurance company didn't do it. The state of Tennessee didn't do it. I took myself out of the truck because I couldn't cope with what just happened. You know, nobody goes to work thinking, well, before this day's over with, I'm going to be involved in killing somebody. That never crosses anybody's mind. And it took me a little while to cope with that. Well, after about 2 or 3 months, I guess, 4 months, whatever it was, I went to my boss and asked him when they'd put me back in a truck, and that's when he advised me, well, had you not taken yourself out of the truck before that week was up, the insurance company would have denied to cover you, and then we'd have had to take you out the truck anyway. So, oh, great. So that's where I started working at the steel mill, tarping the trailers for that trucking company that I had been working at already for how many years, to help facilitate the other drivers being able to come and go, and what we call, which I know you know, Brother Mike, dropping hooks. And so they can bring their empty flatbed in, drop it, grab the load that I've already, me or 2 other guys have already secured and tarped, and take right there in and out 30 minutes. Sometimes the trailers they bring in weren't even empty. They'd come in the middle of the night with a load of crushed cars stacked up on them, and I'd have to go deliver that when the scrap yard next door would open, and then come back and load it with steel and tarp it. So, but I left that job to take this one to make more money, because what it was costing me, although the whole idea of the van was so that we wouldn't have to pay hotel anymore, or even the Airbnb was getting to the point when you start figuring out a week's worth of Airbnb rooms, it adds up. And but the hours weren't enough. I needed more, and I didn't want more money. I wanted more work, and therefore by getting more work I will thus get more money. And so they never did come up with anything else, so I came here at the recommendation of one of the guys I was working with over there. And there's no money to be had here. In fact, this week here, I didn't even get 1,000 miles. This week, what I turned in today, 995 miles is all I've driven in 5 days. That's pretty sad. Pretty sad. You need 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week now because of e-logs. Years ago, you'd want anywhere from 3,500 to 4,000 miles a week, and they can't even give me 1,000. I think last week it was 1,500 or so. I've gotten around 2,300 a few times. Anything above 25 is very rare here. Everything that I do is little short runs. Get you a 4 or 5 hour drive, and then you're there, and be unloaded first thing in the morning to get another 4 or 5 hour drive. Or like a while back, I delivered in Seguin, Texas. Seguin, I think they say it, Seguin, Seguin, and I delivered there, which is a little ways north of San Antonio, right south of Austin. Shot over to Shiner, Texas, which is a little bit east of San Antonio, and loaded these. You see these pickup trucks that the factory bed has been removed, and then it has a real heavy steel flat bed kind of a deal with a bull rack or headache rack or whatever on it and all. I picked up a truckload full of those. I think y'all might even remember me posting that picture. And yeah, because I remember Martha said, "Oh, flatbed hauling flatbeds." So I delivered that in Noble, Oklahoma, 450 miles away. I loaded it on Friday, delivered it on Monday. Now, from midnight to, say, 10 in the morning, that's damn near half a day. I'm loading it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. So you figure half a day Friday, half a day Monday, plus all of Saturday and Sunday. There's 3 days right there. If you have a truck that's not going to be coming back to the yard, the guy's going to park it, shut it off, and go home for the weekend, then you want to give him as many miles as he can run over that weekend so that he's not idling away all the fuel. And that's what. And then they wonder why that white truck was getting 4.4 miles per gallon, and they couldn't figure out what are you doing different. Well, I'm not one of these to wind them out. You know, I let what we call, like, if you, Mike, if you know anything about driving a Caterpillar, yeah, all the time losing money. And a cat engine, if you get what they call a sweet spot, especially the like 3406 Caterpillars, big six engines, you don't drive it with your foot to the floor. You accelerate, and then you pull your foot back off the throttle some, kind of real light feather touch, and you find that what we call that sweet spot. And you'll actually notice as you take your foot off the throttle a little bit, you'll actually feel it like this. It actually has more power when you don't press the accelerator to the floor. And so that's how I drive everything. Like now, the truck I just moved back into, that green truck, it's got a Cat engine in it. But I think it's C15 Cat, that one does. Those red trucks, or the white trucks that I've been in, got a red top Cummins. And Cummins ain't a bad engine. Cummins not a bad engine. But even a Cummins or a Detroit, I drive them just like you would a Cat. I don't accelerate harshly. I go through the gears gently. You know, I'm not a gear jammer. You know, every now and then, yeah, you miss one, then you're a gear jammer. But as far as people who drive that way through the entire gear range, no, I don't. And so yeah, that whole weekend I just sat there idling away because it was cold at night and warm during the day. So I'd have the air conditioning on all day long, and I'd have the heat on all night long. And they're 1.1 gallons an hour is what the big diesel engines burn. And so you figure at 3, you know, I forget how many hours I actually drove that weekend. It wasn't a whole lot, like 7. So over 3 days, I drove 7 hours to make it between the pickup and delivery point. So you figure, 36 hours minus 7, let's just say 30, so 20, even 25. You know, that's $75 ballpark. $75 just to sit there and run that truck for a couple days. You know, and everything. It's always like that around here. They got this other new driver. In fact, he's driving one of those same white trucks, and the one that I used to drive that is opened up to, you know how diesel engines are governed, so that one was governed at 103 mile an hour. No lie. And it would do it. No plastic single screw. You know, it's got 2 axles, but only one of them drives. The other one just rolls. And but 103 mile an hour. The one I just got out of was at 74. So that green one is 70. It don't matter if you got some trucks, you can actually bump the cruise, and you'll get more speed out of the cruise than you will out of the accelerator pedal. Some others is the other way around. You'll hit the cruise as max as you can go, and then you step on the pedal and get a couple more miles. But the truck I'm in now, on the throttle or on cruise, 70 mile an hour. Either way, it's all she gives you. But it's got a good, powerful engine. I don't care about the speed so much anyway, and that 70 is plenty for me. So, but yeah, I just got a lot going on in my head. I didn't feel like I got this book of poetry. The mama and I, we like, now the mama is an avid, I think that's the correct word, an avid reader. She reads 1-2 books a day. One time she read 3. Of course, they weren't like Gone with the Wind or nothing, but she will pick up a book and read it hours at a time. Set it down. Keep watching my screen flicker. I think my battery's getting ready to go dead. So if this ends without me having said goodbye, that's why. But she finished the book, puts it down, goes back to, yeah, she's a bookworm, that's no lie. She goes, and immediately goes, we got one of our spare bedrooms made up like what some people might call a den, or I call it the study because I got my desk in there and stuff. And we're basically a small library. So she'll go pick another one and sit right back down and start reading it. And if finish it, get back up and do it every single day. She the way I watch so much YouTube videos, or when I'm home I like watching movies a lot, the mama is all the time books. And that's funny because I'm watching John Wick 1 and 2 one night. And if you've seen John Wick, brother, you know it's murder and mayhem and all kind of noise and bam, 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 and whatever else. And she's just reading around like ain't. And in fact, me watching movies doesn't bother her at all. It's when I start talking to her and then she'll put her finger right here and go, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, and the whole time not wanting to lose her place, just wishing I'd shut up so she'd get back, because she was probably writing one of the good parts or something, you know. So I saw we. I'll do that 3 or 4 times too until I finally realize, you know, I'm probably bothering her right now, and I'll just after that just keep to myself. But anyhow, that's what's going on, man. Mike ain't such a happy camper these days. It is what it is. I've got this here. You can't hardly read the binding anymore. It's American Poems. It was published in November of 1916, but the poems themselves in this book are dated from 1632 or something like that. No, 1625. I remember. 1625 to 1892. Of course, the ones you get back into the 1600s, they're all the old King James English, and you got to work really hard to absorb those. So well, I'm sure I read that right there. Well, I try to believe, brother, but right, my faith ain't quite what it used to be. But all I can do is take it as it comes. You know, I look at it like getting onto a roller coaster, and then you decide halfway into the ride that this is more than you bargained for. Y'all let me off. You know, they don't just okay, get off so everyone else can enjoy the ride. You know, you're kind of obligated, man. You're stuck, so you're gonna have to see it through, like it or not. And that's how I deal with this. It's just it's hard to. Some days I can handle it, some days I can't. But anyhow, so what's going on with you, brother? I hadn't been in the chat room in a while. I apologize. I try to always at least make an appearance in there and say hey, but things have been so up in the air lately. Even though I haven't driven much this week, I've been really busy every day. They've had me doing something. And yesterday morning, I moved from one truck into the other, and I no more than got done. And he said, he gave me the keys to his son's truck and pickup truck. And he said, I need you to run escort with this other fella. So I went down to Helena, Arkansas, following this guy with a 13-foot wide bulldozer blade, bulldozer with a blade, and drop one off, pick another one up, which was also 13-foot wide, and escort him right back. So that took pretty much the whole day. Well, that's my plan tomorrow. I think this weekend I'm going to do the music mouthing this and Michelob minus the music. Maybe I'll have some music in the background or something. But the thing about me and guitar, Witchy said one day, she says, you just look like you're so at ease and so comfortable when you've got that guitar in your hand. And I am. I don't really struggle at all to play and sing. And I get in this zone. And I can't explain it. But yeah, I just get this alternate universe thing going on. And Family Day. I've never heard of Family. Is that a Canada thing? I've never heard of Family Day. But anyhow, the thing about me and music and that zone, it comes from in here. And in here is kind of all. It's just the two of y'all right now, so excuse my French, but in here right now it's all kind of fucked up. But I'm gonna do a live anyway, cause and I don't know, maybe by Sunday night I might get the feeling better and whip out the guitar anyway. So. But I If tonight was my night to go live, I wouldn't put the guitar out. That's the way it is. So, but I just needed to vent, brother, and I appreciate you and my wife coming by and helping me do that, because it's a whole different deal talking to a camera if that little deal with the person icon shows 0. You know that sooner or later someone will probably see it, but yeah, technically you're not talking to anybody then. Yeah, but I try not to do this, you know. Um, it's a believe it or not, if I was home right now, I'd probably pass on that too. The thing for me, I guess, is just that you don't want to come across here and be all depressing and everything, because people be like, "Oh man." they The thing I've noticed about YouTube is that what you put on here, and even Mike, I've seen most of your live after the fact. I remember one night I caught you live, but most of the time I've already missed it by the time I find time. I can see the notification and whatever. But it doesn't matter if it's in a brightly lit room. It doesn't matter if it's in your own little personal film studio or recording studio. Hey there, Amanda. How you doing? It doesn't matter the van or outside on a bright sunny day. Whatever you put from this side, like I'm on my cell phone right now, and Mike 2 and Mike B. Whatever you put on this side of that camera, if it's all from in here, people on the other side of that camera, which is y'all, are actually going to feel that. And so I try not to sometimes I get this way. Like here lately, I've been trying to maybe not post every day, but damn near. And on the days when I'm like this, I just don't post anything. So earlier, I had thought to myself, maybe what I would do is just not do the live Sunday at all. And I was thinking I would just go live to make a quick little announcement that there won't be a live Sunday. But I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do it, but I don't know. It may or may not involve guitar. It depends on my mood. That's 2 days away, so I got time to recoup. So what Amanda? What does that mean? You're lagging. What does it? You mean you're the video is lagging? I notice every now and then my video, my screen's flickering. So whatever it is might be. I was at 76%, 74% when I started this, and it doesn't let me see it when I got the phone sideways. So chances are, like I told Brother Mike, if this thing suddenly just stops without me having to say goodbye to y'all, that's why. But anyhow, I wonder if that maybe might be something to do with doing like this on my phone and that buffering. I'm right on the Mississippi-Tennessee state line where Interstate 22 ends in Mississippi and it becomes US 78 in Tennessee, coming up at an angle out of Birmingham, Alabama to Memphis. And right where that crosses the Tennessee line, I'm immediately over on the right. So I've noticed whenever Elaine and I are on the phone talking, whenever I cross state lines, one tower, of course, stops, and then my phone has to shut it, disconnect the call, and then we call back, and next thing you know, we're on the next tower. So I wonder if maybe that's what it is too, is I'm so close to the state line. So what I just missed. I was telling, it's just you, Brother Mike, and Amanda here, or my wife here. I'm talking to Amanda. this lawsuit thing that's going on in the state of Tennessee, wanting blood. That wreck that I got in a year ago, truck wreck I got in. Some days it's just really, it's a heavy burden. Some days I can cope with it. Some days not. Today's maybe not. I try not to really let that get out here, because let's face it, if you're always negative and always kind of depressive and down and whatever else, people are going to feel that, and eventually they'll just stop watching. And besides, I don't want my burdens to become anybody else's burdens. And honestly, usually I'm a glass half full kind of guy. Usually I'm always, I tell people I'm like a dog when company comes over. I'm always glad to see them. And in fact, years ago, a trucker was getting all mad about, I think I might have told you all this story one night, but the trucker was getting mad about me and another trucker talking, and I told him, I said, well, driver, y'all be thankful I'm not a dog. And he said, well, if you was a dog, at least you'd shut up. I said, yeah, but if I was a dog, I'd be so excited having made a new friend, and I'd want to start humping your leg. And he didn't think that was funny at all. But yeah, that's me. Like, I made a new friend. So, but I appreciate that, man. So when I go home, I don't have a bunch of buddies to hang out with and everything. I moved up where we live now from San Antonio, Texas, and knowing nobody. In fact, the mama had said, well, I'll sell my house and I'll move down to San Antonio with you. Well, we've had the house we took it off the market since, because now we're doing home renovations. But we had it on the market for, 2 years or more? And all that time, maybe 5 or 6 couples that come and looked at it. That was it. And where we live, there's not a whole lot of work. And since there's not a lot of work, there's not a lot of people moving into the area. And therefore, it takes a while to sell a house. So fortunately, I had decided, because the cost of living in Texas is so high, that maybe instead of her moving down to Texas, I should be the one to move to Arkansas. But I know very few people up there. The people that I have gotten to know, they're busy with their own lives. They sure don't have time for me on the rare occasion I come home. So I just hang out at the house. That's all I ever do. If Miss Elaine ain't busy reading, we'll sit there and talk some. But she's engrossed in a book. It's just me and the TV, or me and YouTube, or the internet, or whatever. When the weather gets nice, it won't be as bad, because then I can get out in the shop and do some work out there, and it desperately needs it. So, yard work, whatever else. But anyway. So, Amanda, what have you got going on this evening? I don't know. The mama was reading until because she wasn't expecting this. Because the other night I told her I was going to go live, and I'd chat with her at midnight, and I had fell asleep and never woke back up. So she was probably expecting the same thing tonight, because I remember when we got off the phone this evening, she said, well, sweet dreams. And usually she doesn't say that unless she knows I'm out for the night. So, Brother Mike, he said he's just chilling at home. So what are you up to there, Amanda? If you don't mind me being nosy, I'm going to be nosy. What are you up to? What are you doing right now? Oh, I need to cheer myself up. So I'm going to pick on somebody, and I have chosen it should be you. Anyway. Oh, let's see. What have I missed? Have I missed anything there? Well, yeah. I try not to be, though, because if I let it get to me and I get down, sometimes I get so far down I don't feel like coming back out. If you ever been so mad, for example, and you need to calm down, but you just want to stay mad at whoever it is, you just want to be mad for a while. I get like that when I get down. I get down and I know, okay, now I just need to find something to pick myself back up, and to make myself laugh. Usually watch some stupid little old movie from the 70s or something. Get on YouTube and pick up Abbott and Costello reruns or something, and Laurel and Hardy. I like the old stuff. But don't get me wrong, or even stand-up comedy, some of the newer stuff. But sometimes you just get where you get down that little hole and you don't want to come out, and that's kind of where I'm at today. So, nah. If you were boring, none of us would want to know what you're up to. Like when we chat with you in the Chrome's chat room, we wouldn't converse with you because we think you're dull and boring. That's what I tell Miss Elaine all the time. I tell her, she'll say something about our relationship and everything else, and I'm just like, oh, I'm dull and boring, and she's like, yeah, whatever. I always figure if she's not bored, I must be doing something right. I need to get some beer, brother. Too late to buy any this time of night. I can't go in there. By the time I would air up, I got 5 minutes. The nearest beer store is probably exactly 5 minutes away. The van won't start because of my fuel pump issue. And by the time I'd get the big rig and get the fence unlocked and drive up to the Pilot up there, it'd be close. The Pilot's open all night, but you're only allowed to buy beer till midnight. Yeah, that's why sometimes, how like what do you do when you get dirty? You take a bath, right? And so sometimes you just need to wash out your insides. Yeah, get me some. I tried one day. There's a fellow that works here, another driver. He's the owner operator, and he come in a lot of times on Friday nights. Everybody will come in, they get their paychecks, do whatever. Of course, I've got mine direct deposited, so. Every now and then I remember to pick up my check stubs. They're all in a file, but I don't have to worry about my check. It goes to the bank first thing in the morning. But anyway, on Friday night, especially when this other fellow from New Zealand used to be here, we'd all get together and go out to eat or something, at supper time, and drink a beer sometimes or whatever. And he'd come in with some Michelob. I don't know. I know, Mike, you like the Canadian beers, but he had this Michelob Ultra Golden. It's in a clear bottle like Miller High Life, and but it has a whole different taste than just the regular Michelob Ultra, and it was good, man. I liked it. It was really good. I would like to be, how I like to get the people who are wine connoisseurs, and they'll actually go to these different vineyards and taste all these different wines, and sometimes they'll buy some from right there, maybe 10, 20 years old, and bring it back home. I would like to be a beer connoisseur. I think that would be a cool job, to travel the country or even travel the world and taste beer in all these different countries and write up a report on it. Get on YouTube and say, y'all be in Germany with one of those big steins, the I don't know if they're pewter or what they are, but they're metal on the top and the bottom and glass in the middle. and you got to actually open the lid. I'm not sure what the lid is for, but keep the flies out, maybe, I don't know. But the idea of being good to travel the whole world just for no other reason than to taste beer in all these different cultures, that'd be a cool job. If I could ever get such a job, Brother Mike, I will definitely get with you and say, come on, man. I can't do this by myself. But anyhow, oh man, today's been, it hasn't been a bad day, it just hasn't been a great day, it is what it is. Oh man, what would I call that? Traveling around the world tasting beer and then doing a live, or maybe not live, but doing a video vlog of it on YouTube. What would that would be? It'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. Hey, I want you to try this beer right here if you ever get to Germany. Hold on 1 second. The world's best beer line. Awesome. That would be. Uh, do you know who Forrest Brooks is? Years ago, they used to do those roasts of the Man of the Hour, Johnny Carson and Dean Martin, and they'd always have some celebrity, and then all these other celebrities to come and poke fun of that one celebrity, for an hour. And one of them was always this guy Foster Brooks, and he'd always be, he was just three sheets to the wind. And I always thought to myself, I thought, surely, yeah, there we go, reminder number one about my battery. I always thought for sure that couldn't be an act. That guy had to be. Of course, nowadays, if you did that, people would be offended by it. But I thought it was funny. But I didn't realize that dude was stone cold sober every time he ever done one of those shows. He was Carol Burnett show one time, and I can't think where all else I've seen him, but he was stone cold sober, acting like a drunk, and doing a really good job of it. So, but I would be like, well, that was one, and it tasted pretty good. But then anyway, after about 6 or so, be like, was that 6 or 7? And then Mike, you'd be like, no, that was 9. It wasn't 9. We don't get an argument about it. So we'll have another one. We'll stop when we think it's been a dozen. Like your song, brother. I like beer. It makes me a jolly good fellow. Now, that is true. When Dean Martin had his own television show, if you remember, there'd always be this part where he'd be sitting down with, of course, he didn't drink beer. He was drinking liquor. And he had a little plastic stir stick in his glass. But one of them women that was always, really shapely, and some of them were in bathing suits, and some of them was just in real scantily clad clothing. And they'd always bring the little serving tray out, kind of like a Playboy bunny almost, and bring the serving tray out, and he'd take his glass, and when he got done stirring it up, he'd be drinking it. Of course, he got a cigarette in his one hand here, and he'd be taking a little of the drink and smoking a cigarette, and then meanwhile take that stir stick out, and his jokes were written on the stir stick. Do you remember that? I always enjoyed that. That was fun. But the good old days. Like I said, now things that back in the 60s and 70s was completely acceptable, that society nowadays would get so bent out of shape over that they just I don't know. Oh, who's here? There's somebody new. Let's see here. Who did I miss? I thought I'd seen there's Amanda, there's Mike B and me and the mama. But this says 4. Okay, so who is here hasn't checked in? Shame on you. You need to you need to check in. Who's here? It says there's 4 people here. And on my screen I'm only seeing the 3 of us. But it shows 4 people. I'm only seeing. Okay, now there's low battery alarm number 2. So yeah, here before long it's gonna die. It's gonna die. So, yeah, I'm scrolling. I haven't missed any comments. So all right. So somebody's just following along silently, I guess. Casper's a ghost. That's not funny. I'm Irish, okay? And what that means is I don't tan. I burn, I peel, and go back to being white, all right? So, not just any old white, but the kind of white where you're walking through the department store, and this is true, I don't wear shorts almost ever. All my jobs have been the kind where I was a welder, a barge line deckhand, trucker. You're always working with steel and things that cut yourself, so you need denim. I don't even wear slacks hardly unless I'm going somewhere where I need to dress nice. I almost always wear denim. And but because of that, obviously, the only thing I got truck driver arm, of course. My left arm's got more tan than my right. I tan really good on my left arm, but the rest of me, white as a ghost. And if I was to be walking around right now in a pair of shorts, some little kid be going, "Look, Mama, Casper." It's my dad's fault. And Dad was the same way, white as a ghost. He had truck driver arm too. Well, so you didn't necessarily have to chime in with that. I don't either have not the widest legs ever. Yes, I am pale, but I don't have the widest legs ever. Them what they call them in California? They call themselves vampires or something like that, where they thanks you guys. Whose side are you on anyway? They they wear all the goth. They dye their hair real dark black and they wear the black makeup and nail polish and lip gloss, black everything, but they're pale as pale can be. They don't ever get out in the sun to have that undead look thing going on. I guess I don't know. But, those people have the widest legs ever. But I'm not very far behind. So, yeah, whenever the power goes out, I just run around the house naked and I can light up a room. Let me tell you. Well, wider than me is those vampire people in California. Them, we're middle of summer and they're wearing a long black trench coat and black pants, black boots, black t-shirt, got their hair done black, black makeup and everything else, and their skin just pasty white. And that's the look. That's what they think is cool. Although, all right, we're down to 5%. My screen just went dark on me. So, they say though that people who like go to tanning booths all the time and all that all they are is they're, when your skin turns tan, it's because you're actually killing some of your skin cells or burning them or what have you. So the people who are real pale like that are they're real healthy. They're less likely to get skin cancer because of that. So I suppose there's something good comes from that. But, yeah. To me though, yeah, it's not. It's kind of weird. So that's the other reason why I don't. Even when I'm home, I suppose I could wear shorts, but more often than not, I wear jeans everywhere I go. I'm like Amanda, jeans and a t-shirt. And the only difference is I've got some t-shirts that I work in, and I got some that might have a picture of a semi-truck on them or something. I've got some that I only wear these when I'm not going to be getting dirty. Jeans and t-shirt, ain't nothing. I mean, let's face it. There's really, as far as clothing, to cover your body up and yet still be comfortable, like you're really not wearing much anything at all. I can't think of anything more comfortable than a good fitting pair of jeans. And I don't like my t-shirts real tight, but I don't like them real loose either. I don't mind them being a little bit loose. I just don't like them where they're, 2 sizes too big. But yeah, jeans and t-shirt. Like now, because I know I'm going to be going home in the morning, so instead of wearing my boots, I'm wearing my tennis shoes. But other than that, yeah, I'm just jeans and t-shirt kind of guy. So, well, y'all, before my battery goes dead, I guess I'm going to go ahead and sign off of this thing. Appreciate you listening. I need that. On the road, like I said, I turned the stereo off. I got a CB radio. In fact, it's in the back of Mama's car, unless she brought it in the house. I don't even have it hooked up in the big truck. A lot of guys, truckers, are rude and crude and jerks and whatever. And yeah, I need someone to talk to, but I need someone to talk to in a healthy conversation. So, well, like I said, before the battery goes dead, then I can't say goodbye to y'all. So I guess I'll say goodbye. See you when we see you. Maybe Sunday night. So. Nothing better. Jeans and t-shirt. Nothing better. All right. Well, baby, I'm gonna have to charge the phone up before I can call you. So, but if you're gonna be up. And if not, I guess I'll talk with you in the morning. But all right, y'all. We will Chicken. When she cooks chicken, though, I'm